Want to build systems that keep your team on track while keeping your CEO or executives informed without constant updates? In today's video, I'm going to walk you through how to build a project management system that even your C-suite will love. Whether you're an agency owner or team lead, creating a process that balances efficiency with high-level oversight is key to running a smooth operation. We'll dive into setting up dashboards tailored to high-level executives, implementing clear hierarchies for project access, and how to use your project management tool to track resources like budget and team allocations. By the end of this video, you'll have a blueprint for creating C-suite approved processes that lead to smoother operations and increased profitability. Ready to build a system that works for both your team and your execs? Go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe to our channel, and click that bell icon for notifications. Let's dive in. The key to keeping CEOs and executives engaged without them needing to intervene is providing the right information at the right time. So I actually say that when we have clients come on board, we're not actually building the ClickUp for the CEO. We're building the ClickUp for the people that are in there the day-to-day, and we want to make sure the CEO just has quick access to what they want to see to get a pulse check on their company. So first I'm going to start with going through a few different dashboards to show you how a dashboard or information in ClickUp can look when it comes to the CEO, the COO or manager, and a team member or technician doing the actual work. Everyone is going to have a different experience with ClickUp based on their role. But you want to make sure that you're setting the entire team up for success, even the CEO. So let's start with the CEO dashboard. These are just like quick examples. There are so many more things that you can add to this, but I want to give you just like a quick pulse check on what you can put on this type of dashboard, right? So when it comes to the CEO, you think they are wanting to know, what are our goal statuses? Are we making progress towards the initiatives that we set to continue to grow the company? What are our revenue and financial KPIs? What's our all-time revenue? How much have we made this year, this month, by month, etc. And then they'll also will want to get a pulse check into team performance. Even though the COO or manager is going to have a lot more team metrics, they will want to know who is performing and who is not. So here are a couple different widgets that I'll go through what they are. This first widget here, 2024 company goals. I'll put this into edit mode. This is a widget that's a task list. It's pulling in the company goals location, and that's about it. So they can see, the pulse check on how are these initiatives, KPIs, goals going? Is anything lagging? Do I need to, intervene on anything? Then we have these financial metrics. These are coming in from our sales tracker, which is automated. We love using ClickUp not only as task and project management, but also as a database. So if you are not familiar, I will go ahead and link our sales tracking video in the description below as well, so that you can see how you can build out an automated sales tracker to then have this easy financial data at the click of a button in ClickUp. So here you'll see these are calculation widgets that are summing the gross field. This one is from all sales trackers, whereas this one is just from the 2024 sales trackers. And then this is actually a bar chart, which is saying, okay, it's bringing in from this year's tracker and it's grouping the x-axis by the month. So you can see, okay, the trending variables of how's the company doing. At a glance, you can see, is there a reason why, April and May were so low compared to January, etc. Obviously, this is all mock data. So then you can also have these team widgets like a completed report or also a task by assignee widget. You can see if you add card all of the different options that you have. So again, this is just a few quick examples to get the gears turning of how you can create these dashboards just for the person to see what they need. So in here, then the CEO will be able to see, okay, who's completed what, who's like ranking higher. There's also widgets that are on the COO dashboard that's like who's behind. And then you can see tasks by assignee, like, okay, obviously Christy and Jeff are far outweighing the other team members. Is there anyone that is like far below? Of course, you're going to be taking into account their role. Are they part-time, full-time, etc.? But again, it's just this good visual to see. So that's the CEO dashboard. Now let's move on to the COO or manager dashboard. This could be the COO, this could be a project manager, whoever this is for, what's the information they need to see. So again, we're going to have tasks by assignee. You can also have, like I'll show you here, the who's behind widget. So you could say, okay, everyone, and then tasks from, do you want it from specific spaces or all? Then if I add this card, it's going to show me, okay, this person has a lot of unread notifications. This person has a lot of overdue tasks. Again, this is all mock data. The team is awesome. So just wanted to show you that example of just another team metric you can have in there. So then you have like tasks by assignee. Also, how about like billing and reporting? The COO is going to need to see that stuff as well. So you could see a billable report of time tracked this month, this week, this year, etc. That's billable. You're also going to want to see, overdue tasks. So you can intervene on those tasks and check in with the team members. Why is this overdue? Is it blocked? Do we need to change the status? Does anyone need more information? Then the COO is also going to want KPIs. Now, all of these, you can also do a combination, right? Maybe you want not only the CEO to have this financial data, but then you want the COO to have that as well. You can absolutely mix and match widgets. There's no like one size fits all approach here. They're definitely going to want to see though KPIs, whether that's team KPIs, whether that's marketing KPIs, sales KPIs, like departmental wide. So for example, here we have the average email open rate. Say one of our KPIs is to bring our open rate from 30% to 35%. Then those are things that the COO is going to want to see in plain sight, with a click of a button and just be able to get those metrics to get that pulse check. So this is actually a calculation widget, but this is, instead of summing the gross amount, right, like we did for the CEO, this would be averaging out the open rate in the email marketing list. So you can see those are just like two examples of this KPI data. And where the sales tracker is just a database, the email marketing template is actually an active pipeline. So many different ways you can do this. Then the last widget is the client project overview. So this is actually what we call a portfolio card. And this is where you can see just quick information about lists, right? So you can use list colors to be able to note them as like statuses. That's how we use them. You'll be able to see the progress of that project, of how many tasks are active, how many have been completed, what's done, what's overdue, is there a start and end date for this project, priority, owner, etc. So you can see there are even more things here that you can add, and you can really make that your own. But this is a great way just to get that like visual pulse check on whether it's internal projects or client projects. You can use portfolio for anything. So that is the COO and manager. Again, you're seeing this data of, okay, I want to get a pulse check on the company, the team, the KPIs, etc. Do I need to take action on anything, or are we good to go? Oversight is everything. So then lastly, let's get into the team member dashboard. So here is where you're going to want, I'm going to go ahead and just mark this as today. So this is where the team members, you don't need to bog them down by KPIs and metrics and performance and things like that. You want your team members to know, here is what I have to do today, this week. Is there anything overdue? So you want to give them what's the actual work, right? Giving this dashboard to the CEO for other team members is not helpful, right? They don't need to know what John and Nina are doing, on any given day. They want to see the team as a whole and those important metrics. But the team, when they come into ClickUp, they have to see exactly what they have to do and have that information easily accessible. So in here, you can see these are mostly task list widgets, and then we have filters on them. So this is due today, the assignee is me, and the due date is today. This is due this week. Again, this would be assignee is me, due date is this week, and then this is grouped by the due date. And then we have overdue. It will track time reporting, and really that's as simple as you can go. You can even just have like one list that's like, here's what's coming up in the future and here's what's overdue. And then from here, it's great because this will click right into the task. The team member can do their thing and then move it to ready for review or complete or whatever that next step is. And then it's going to wipe away from their dashboard. So simple. So I hope that dashboard tutorial was helpful for you so you can see how the experience in ClickUp is going to differ from position to position. The next thing I want to talk about is actually the ClickUp hierarchy. So what I mean by that is how you actually structure your spaces, folders, lists, tasks, subtasks, etc. So not only do you want to structure your hierarchy so that the team knows where to find things, the team knows where to put things, you know where to find things, etc. There's a very fine line between too many spaces, folders, lists, and too little. So you want to make sure every list has a purpose. Just a pro tip, if you find that you have a list with only like 5 tasks in it ever, typically that can be condensed into another list, right? So I want to give you a quick tour of the hierarchy that we typically suggest. This fits into about like 90% of agencies that we work with. We're going to have the main departments as spaces within your company. So your whole entire workspace, like DL training workspace, is the workspace, whereas these spaces on the side are called spaces. So we have operations, leadership and strategy, marketing and PR, sales, programs and courses, clients, fulfillment, and resources and training. Within these, then we have folders and lists. So the folders will categorize those different lists even further, and then you can have folder lists as well. So like in team management, we have things like company calendar, team meetings, team database, IT support tickets, etc. In marketing, we have things like, a list for every single platform because the workflow is different for every single platform. So you get the idea of how you can structure these differently. And then you have the list, which then houses the tasks inside them. So here you can see this is the blog pipeline. This is going to move from status to status as you create all these blogs with your team and do that for all the other platforms as well. Another huge piece of this is also making sure that you have a place for team trainings and resources. So we always recommend having a resources and training space that not only houses all of your SOP libraries, PS, this is a free template, the link will be in the description, but then a place where you can have your employee handbook, any team trainings to actually delegate trainings to your team, whether it's a video, whether it's an SOP you created, whether it's a document or an article that you found. Those can all be delegated to the team in the team trainings list. And then what's great about this is not only if you have to delegate something to someone to watch, they also know that if they have questions, best practice is always to check the SOP library first to see if a training exists already. So that is another pro tip for you. And the last thing I want to mention regarding the hierarchy is permissions. This is a huge thing that we see as we are working with the companies that we work with at Dissolve Life, where people not only don't know like how the hierarchy works and how to give people access to certain things, but they're also super scared to give people access to anything because they're like, I don't know who can see what. And that is definitely a terrifying feeling. So here is the breakdown. If you have a key team member who needs access to most of the things in your business, for example, an executive assistant, a project manager, etc., people that are heavily involved in all departments, you're going to want to add them as a paid member. That way they have access to everything. But if you want to keep something secret, for example, the sales tracker, you can always click on the list settings, sharing and permissions, and make this private. You can then decide the people that have access to it, and you can always add access to other people. So if you see something with a lock, then you're going to know my paid members cannot see this item unless they are added to it directly. You can also do this for a folder. You can also do this for a space as well. So that is the key to making sure, like, okay, if I have members, I want to make sure this thing stays privated. Now, when it comes to, adding someone and giving permissions to a folder, if a folder is locked, every single thing will be locked underneath it. But if you add someone to the folder level, they will be able to see all of the things underneath. So that's a tip as well. Now, what if it's a different type of freelancer or someone that only needs access to specific client projects, or, for example, a YouTube editor needs access to the YouTube list? This is when you're going to then add them as a guest. So if I come into marketing and PR and I say, okay, our YouTube editor does not need to be inundated with all this information. They just need just what they need. I'm going to go ahead into the list settings, click on sharing and permissions, and then add them as a guest. So I'll do hello@desilvalife.com, click on enter, and where it says member, I'm going to invite them as a guest. And then you can click on send invite. You can also decide at what level they have. So do you want full, edit access, comment, or view only? So that's where you can invite someone just to a whole list. And then for clients, if you have freelancers that work on, say, your retainer clients, you can then go ahead and do the same thing. Go into the folder settings, sharing and permissions, and then add them as a guest to the folder. What you cannot currently do, it is not supported with this version of ClickUp, is add guests to spaces. So wanted to note that as well, but I hope that clears up a little bit of, when it comes to the hierarchy, who can see what, how can I make sure certain people only see certain things? And then if you're ever worried about not knowing who has access to what, you can always go into your company settings. So you'd actually go through this way, but I have sensitive client logins there. So you'll go into your settings and then you will see in the DL training workspace settings in people that you can see the guests and you can see exactly what they have access to. And from here, you can change their access and you can also remove all if you don't want them to be in your workspace at all, or you can remove specific lists in there as well. The last thing that I want to go through is resource allocation. So ClickUp actually has such a powerful view that is so underrated, which is called the workload view. So I like doing this on the everything level, but you can also do this, like, say, if you want to see workload as it pertains to your team just for clients or just to a specific project. What you can do is add a view, workload, and here you're going to see that if you utilize time estimates on tasks, which I highly recommend, you'll be able to set everyone's capacity. Are they working full-time, part-time, or they're just a freelancer? How much capacity do they have per week? And as things are added to their schedule, this workload view will update automatically. So you'll be able to see how many hours each person has on their schedule, if they're under capacity or over capacity. So I'm going to click into here and let's say I make this, I'm going to add the time estimate in the task and I'm going to say this is going to take me, 6 hours. So now you will see when I come back into workload view that I'm now 3 hours over capacity. So workload view is incredible when it comes to resource allocation and seeing your team capacity. And that is the very last thing I wanted to go through with you guys in terms of creating a C-suite proof process. When it comes to your project management tool, you may be watching this and you may not even necessarily use ClickUp, but this will give you a visual of, as you're picking a project management tool, as your company expands, you want to make sure that the CEO is not the bottleneck. I say that from being a CEO myself. You want to make sure that everyone has access to just the information they need. Now, can the CEO, COO, managers dive into the details and see what's going on and get a pulse check for an entire project? Absolutely. But that's not going to be their day-to-day. You want to make sure that you are molding your project management tool and system to fit the day-to-day of each person in the company. And that's a wrap. You now know how to build a C-suite approved project management system that both empowers your team and keeps your executives informed. Remember, the key to success is giving your C-suite the big picture while ensuring your team can focus on the details. At DeSilva Life, we've helped hundreds of agencies create these exact systems to streamline their operations and boost growth. Are you ready to build yours? If you are, go ahead and visit desilvalife.com/contact to book a call with us today. And if you enjoyed this video, please make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel, and feel free to send this to any other agencies or teams that could benefit from watching it. With that, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.